Poor circulation, weak legs, constant fatigue just from walking to the mailbox. Most people over 60 accept this as normal. They blame the years. They blame genetics. But here's the truth that most doctors will never tell you sitting in that exam room. It isn't age that's stealing the strength from your legs. It's something you're probably doing every single day, something hiding in plain sight, something that's quietly poisoning the muscles and nerves that keep you standing, moving, and living independently. And once you know what it is, you can stop it. Not someday. This week. Stay with me until the very end, because the number one leg strength thief on this list is so widespread, so normalized, that 9 out of 10 people over 60 are exposed to it daily without even realizing it. One major study found that removing it from your routine led to a measurable improvement in lower limb muscle function in as little as 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and yet almost nobody talks about it. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Carmichael, a physician specialized in senior health with over 15 years of dedicated clinical experience. I've worked with thousands of men and women over 60, people who came to me convinced their legs were simply giving out because of age, people who had been dismissed, told to take it easy, told this was just how it goes. I refused to accept that then, and I refuse to accept it now. What I'm about to share goes against the standard advice. Some of my colleagues won't say this out loud, but I've seen it work, patient after patient, and I will not stay silent. Before we go any further, if you're someone who's noticed your legs feeling heavier lately, if climbing stairs has become something you dread, if your calves cramp at night or your feet feel cold and numb, I want you to hit that like button right now, because what follows could genuinely change the way you move through the rest of your life. Now let me ask you something. How old are you? Are you in your 60s? Your 70s? Maybe beyond? Type your decade in the comments right now. Just the number. 60, 70, 80. You'll be surprised how many people are watching this right alongside you, dealing with the exact same thing. Here is what's happening inside your body right now if your legs have been weakening. After the age of 60, your muscle mass naturally begins to decline at a rate of roughly 1 to 2% per year. That process is called sarcopenia. But here's what the textbooks don't emphasize enough. That natural decline is dramatically accelerated by external factors, factors you can control. When those factors are present, the normal 1 to 2% annual loss can spike to 3, 4, even 5% per year. The difference between someone who walks confidently at 75 and someone who needs a cane isn't always genetics. Very often it's exposure to what I call leg strength thieves. These are substances, habits, and dietary patterns that actively interfere with muscle protein synthesis, nerve conduction to the lower limbs, circulation in the legs, and the mitochondrial function inside muscle cells. When any of these systems break down, the legs go first. Why the legs? Because they are the farthest from the heart, the most mechanically demanding muscles in the body, and the first to suffer when the body is under chemical stress. Today I'm going to count down 7 of the worst leg strength thieves I see destroying mobility in my senior patients. We're going from bad to catastrophic, and for each one I'll tell you exactly what it is, why it works the way it does, what you can do about it, and what I've seen happen when patients finally eliminate it. And here's what terrifies me most. Several of these are things that have been marketed to you as healthy, as necessary, even as protective. So pay close attention. This brings us to number 7. Number 7, processed vegetable oils, particularly those high in omega-6 fatty acids. You know them well. Corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, generic vegetable oil. They're in almost everything packaged, bottled, fried, or baked. For decades, these oils were pushed as heart-healthy alternatives to butter and animal fat. Doctors recommended them, cardiologists endorsed them, and seniors by the millions switched over. Here's what we now understand. These oils are extremely high in omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids. In small amounts, omega-6 fatty acids are necessary, but in the quantities found in the modern American diet, they create a wildly pro-inflammatory internal environment. And inflammation, chronic low-grade inflammation, is one of the primary drivers of muscle breakdown in older adults. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults with the highest levels of inflammatory markers had significantly faster rates of muscle mass loss in the lower extremities compared to those with lower inflammation. The legs took the hit first and hardest. Here's the mechanism. When these processed oils are metabolized, they produce a cascade of inflammatory compounds called arachidonic acid derivatives. These compounds signal the body to break down protein, including muscle protein. Over years of consumption, particularly in the legs where blood circulation is already slower and tissue turnover is more sluggish, this leads to measurable weakening. The pro tip here is this. You don't have to eliminate fat from your diet. You need to change the type. Swap processed vegetable oils for olive oil, butter from grass-fed cows, or avocado oil. These contain anti-inflammatory fats that actively support muscle integrity rather than eroding it. Now let's move to something even more damaging. Number 6. Excess sodium and ultra-processed foods. Before you tell me you don't add salt to your food, hear me out, because this isn't about the salt shaker. More than 70% of the sodium Americans consume comes hidden inside packaged foods, canned soups, deli meats, frozen dinners, bread, condiments, and fast food. Most people have no idea how much sodium they're actually consuming. Here's why this matters for your legs specifically. Excess sodium causes the body to retain water. That retained water, particularly in the lower extremities, creates a condition called peripheral edema. You may know it as swollen ankles or puffy legs by the end of the day. What edema does is apply constant mechanical pressure on the small blood vessels in the legs, reducing the efficiency of oxygen and nutrient delivery to the muscle tissue. Muscles that are perpetually undernourished at the cellular level cannot maintain their strength. They atrophy. Additionally, high sodium intake is directly linked to arterial stiffness. A 2021 study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that adults over 65 with the highest sodium intake had significantly greater arterial stiffness in the peripheral vessels, meaning the vessels that feed the legs and feet. Stiff vessels equal poor circulation. Poor circulation equals weakening muscles. The practical fix here is reading labels. If a single serving of any food contains more than 400 milligrams of sodium, treat it with caution. If you're eating multiple high-sodium items throughout the day, your legs are paying the price. Stay with me, because what comes next surprised even some of my most health-conscious patients. Number 5. Chronic dehydration. Water. Something so simple, so fundamental, that it seems almost too obvious to mention. And yet, chronic mild dehydration is one of the most under-recognized causes of progressive leg weakness in adults over 60. Here's why seniors are particularly vulnerable. As we age, the thirst mechanism becomes less reliable. The kidneys become less efficient at conserving water. Many older adults are on diuretic medications that further accelerate fluid loss. The result is that millions of people over 60 are walking around in a state of persistent low-level dehydration, and they feel fine because they've adapted to it. But the muscles haven't adapted. Muscle tissue is approximately 75% water. When hydration drops even slightly below optimal, the structural integrity of muscle fibers is compromised. Enzymatic reactions that generate ATP, the energy currency your muscles run on, slow down significantly. A study in the Journal of Athletic Training found that even 2% dehydration led to measurable decreases in muscle strength and endurance, and this effect was amplified in older adults. In the legs specifically, dehydration thickens the blood slightly, making circulation through the small capillaries of the calf and foot muscles even more sluggish. Over time, this translates into fatigue, cramping, and progressive weakness. The target for adults over 60 is at least 6 to 8 glasses of water daily, spread throughout the day rather than consumed all at once. Herbal teas, broths, and water-rich fruits all count, but plain water remains the most efficient. If you believe that proper hydration can genuinely strengthen your legs, type yes in the comments. If you're skeptical, type 0. I want to see where this community stands. Now we move into the territory that I know is going to surprise some of you. Number 4. Medications that deplete muscle-critical nutrients. I want to be very clear here. I am not telling you to stop taking any medication. Medications save lives. But I would be failing you as a physician if I did not tell you what certain commonly prescribed drugs can do to your muscle health over time when the right nutritional steps aren't taken alongside them. Statins, the cholesterol-lowering medications taken by tens of millions of Americans over 60, are among the most well-documented examples. Statins work by inhibiting an enzyme pathway in the liver. That same pathway is also responsible for producing coenzyme Q10, often called CoQ10, a molecule absolutely essential for mitochondrial energy production inside muscle cells. When CoQ10 levels drop, muscles suffer. The legs, as the largest and most metabolically demanding muscle group, suffer most visibly. A meta-analysis published in the journal Nutrients found that statin users had significantly lower CoQ10 levels than non-users, and that muscle-related side effects, including weakness and cramping in the lower extremities, were among the most commonly reported adverse effects. Other medications that can compromise leg strength include proton pump inhibitors, common acid reflux drugs, which deplete magnesium over time, and magnesium is essential for muscle contraction and relaxation. Certain blood pressure medications can reduce the potassium and sodium balance needed for proper muscle signaling. And long-term use of corticosteroids is directly linked to muscle wasting. The solution is not to abandon your medications. The solution is to have a direct conversation with your doctor about nutrient monitoring. Ask specifically about CoQ10, magnesium, potassium, and vitamin B12 levels. A simple blood panel can tell you everything, and supplementing strategically with your doctor's awareness can make an enormous difference. I remember Patricia, a 74-year-old retired school librarian from Minneapolis. She came to my office concerned about her legs. She'd been on a statin for 11 years, and over the last 2 of those years, she had noticed her legs feeling increasingly heavy and weak. Climbing the stairs to her bedroom had become something she planned her evening around, trying to go up only once. She came in completely deflated. She told me, "Dr. Carmichael, I used to walk 2 miles every morning. Now I dread going to the grocery store." Her blood work told the story immediately. Her CoQ10 levels were in the lowest quartile for her age group. Her magnesium was below the recommended range. I worked with her prescribing physician to add a targeted supplementation protocol: CoQ10 daily, magnesium glycinate before bed, and a B12 supplement. We also adjusted her diet to include more potassium-rich whole foods. 6 weeks later, Patricia was back in my office. She had tears in her eyes. She told me, "Doctor, I walked a mile yesterday. It wasn't 2, but I walked a mile and I didn't need to sit down once." 3 months after that, she was back to her morning walks. This wasn't a miracle. This was her body finally getting the raw materials it had been starved of, and you can experience exactly the same thing. Now let's move to the top 3, and this is where things get critical. Number 3, sedentary behavior and the sitting trap. I know what you're thinking. Of course, sitting too much is bad. We've all heard it. But what most people don't understand is the specific mechanism by which prolonged sitting destroys leg muscle, and how quickly and dramatically it happens even in people who are otherwise relatively healthy. When you sit for extended periods, the large muscles of the legs, the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the glutes, the calves, enter what researchers call a metabolic dead zone. Blood flow to these muscles drops significantly. The rate of muscle protein synthesis, the process by which your body maintains and repairs muscle tissue, decreases by as much as 50% after just 1 hour of continuous sitting. A study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that even 2 weeks of dramatically reduced daily steps in adults over 60 led to measurable losses in leg muscle mass and leg strength. But here's the part that most people miss. It's not just about exercise, it's about movement frequency. 10 minutes of walking once a day does not undo 9 hours of sitting. The body needs regular movement signals throughout the day to keep muscle metabolism active. The practical solution is what I call the 20-minute rule. Every 20 minutes of sitting, stand up and move for 2 minutes. Walk to the kitchen, do 10 standing calf raises, walk to the window and back. These micro-movements send constant signals to the leg muscles that they are needed, that they should maintain their mass and their strength. Additionally, ankle circles performed while seated, gentle knee lifts, and seated marching are all legitimate ways to keep blood flowing to the lower extremities, even when you cannot stand. Here's something most people miss about sitting. The hip flexors shorten dramatically with prolonged sitting. Shortened hip flexors tilt the pelvis forward and compress the lumbar nerves that supply sensation and motor function to the thighs and calves. This nerve compression, over time, contributes directly to the numbness, weakness, and instability that many seniors attribute entirely to age. Now, I want to make a quick request. If what you've heard so far is giving you real, actionable information, I'm asking for 2 simple things. First, subscribe to this channel. I am committed to delivering clear, science-backed health information specifically for adults over 60. Second, share this video with someone you love. A parent, a sibling, a friend who's been struggling with their legs. A single tap on that share button could start a conversation that changes everything. Number 2, alcohol. I know this is a sensitive topic. For many people, a glass of wine in the evening is a ritual, a comfort, a social pleasure. And I'm not here to moralize. But I would be doing you a disservice if I ranked the worst leg strength thieves and left this out. Alcohol has a direct toxic effect on skeletal muscle. This is called alcoholic myopathy, and it exists on a spectrum. The severe form, associated with heavy long-term drinking, involves visible muscle wasting, weakness, and pain. But the subclinical form, the kind that develops quietly with moderate but regular consumption over years, is far more common than anyone realizes and far less discussed. Here's the mechanism. Alcohol inhibits the mTOR signaling pathway. This pathway is the master regulator of muscle protein synthesis. When mTOR is suppressed, your body's ability to build and maintain muscle mass is directly compromised. A study published in Alcohol and Alcoholism found that even moderate alcohol consumption over an extended period led to significant reductions in lower limb muscle mass in adults over 60 compared to non-drinkers. The effect was most pronounced in the legs. Additionally, alcohol disrupts sleep architecture, particularly the deep, slow-wave sleep stages, during which the body releases the growth hormone responsible for muscle repair and maintenance. Many seniors who drink in the evening believe the alcohol is helping them sleep better because they fall asleep faster, but the quality of that sleep and the hormonal repair work it triggers is significantly degraded. Alcohol also accelerates the depletion of magnesium, B vitamins, and zinc, all of which are critical for neuromuscular function in the legs. The practical guidance here is not necessarily total abstinence for everyone, but if your legs have been weakening and you are a regular drinker, even at what feels like a moderate level, this is a variable worth examining seriously. Reducing or eliminating alcohol for 30 days and tracking how your legs feel is a legitimate clinical experiment you can run on yourself. I remember James, a 71-year-old retired naval officer from San Diego. He came to see me after his daughter expressed concern about the way he was walking. He had developed a noticeable shuffle, particularly in the mornings, and had fallen twice in the past year. He was proud, self-sufficient, and deeply unsettled by these changes. He told me honestly that he had 2 or 3 glasses of scotch most evenings, had done so for 25 years. He never considered himself a heavy drinker. "It's just how I unwind," he said. I explained the mTOR pathway. I explained what the alcohol was doing to his muscle protein synthesis while he slept. I showed him the research. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "So my legs aren't just getting old. They're not getting what they need to repair themselves." Exactly. That was exactly it. He agreed to reduce to 1 glass on weekends only for 60 days. I added a targeted magnesium and B complex protocol. I also recommended he speak with his primary care physician about the falls. 8 weeks later, he sent me a message. He wrote, "Doctor, my morning shuffle is mostly gone. My daughter noticed before I did. I feel steadier. I feel more like myself." This wasn't a miracle. This was his body, finally given a fighting chance to do what it was designed to do. Now, number 1. And I need you to truly hear this, because this is the one that I see in my office more than any other, the one that is robbing leg strength from more seniors than anything else on this list, and the one that is almost universally overlooked. Number 1, sugar and refined carbohydrates. Not poison in the dramatic sense, not a drug, not something with a warning label, just sugar, just bread, just pasta, just crackers and juice and sweetened yogurt and the dozens of other forms refined carbohydrates take in the average American diet. And yet, when I look at what is most consistently present in the histories of my patients with rapidly deteriorating leg strength, it is this. Here is the science, and I want you to really follow this because it's important. When you consume sugar and refined carbohydrates regularly, your blood glucose spikes repeatedly throughout the day. In response, your pancreas releases insulin to bring that glucose down. In younger adults, this system is efficient. After 60, particularly in people who have been eating this way for decades, the cells gradually become less responsive to insulin. This is called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance does 2 catastrophic things to your leg muscles. First, it means glucose cannot efficiently enter the muscle cells to be used as fuel. The muscles are starved of energy even when blood sugar is high. Second, high circulating insulin levels activate inflammatory pathways that directly promote muscle breakdown. One pathway in particular, the ubiquitin proteasome pathway, which functions essentially as the body's muscle destruction system, is significantly upregulated in insulin-resistant individuals. A landmark study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that insulin resistance was independently associated with lower skeletal muscle mass in older adults, and that the relationship was strongest in the lower body. Another study in Frontiers in Aging found that adults over 65 with higher fasting blood glucose levels showed significantly faster rates of quadriceps and calf muscle decline over a 5-year follow-up period. There is more. Advanced glycation end products, compounds formed when excess sugar binds to proteins in the blood, are directly toxic to the small blood vessels and nerves that supply the legs. This is not just about diabetes. This happens in people with normal blood sugar readings if they are consuming excessive refined carbohydrates regularly. The damage accumulates quietly over years. The nerve damage from glycation, a process called peripheral neuropathy, is one of the primary reasons seniors experience numbness, tingling, weakness, and instability in the legs. It is also one of the most preventable if caught early. Now here's what I find most heartbreaking. Many seniors who are struggling with leg weakness have been told to cut fat, avoid cholesterol, eat more whole grains. Some of those whole grains are refined carbohydrates in disguise. And meanwhile, the sugar and the starchy foods that are doing the most damage have been treated as harmless. I remember Dorothy, a 78-year-old retired schoolteacher from Atlanta. She came to me after her third fall in 18 months. She was using a cane she hadn't needed 2 years before. She was frightened and she was embarrassed. She had been eating what she believed was a healthy diet for years. Low fat, plenty of fruit juice, whole wheat toast, oatmeal with brown sugar, crackers for snacks, low-fat flavored yogurt. She had no idea that this diet was, from a blood sugar management perspective, almost identical to eating sugar directly. Her fasting glucose was elevated, her insulin levels were high, her HbA1c, the 3-month blood sugar average, was in the pre-diabetic range, and her muscle mass in both legs, measured by a body composition scan, was significantly below average for her age. I sat with her and I walked her through everything. I explained what was happening inside her leg muscles. I explained the glycation and the nerve damage. I explained that her diet, not her age, was the primary driver of what she was experiencing. She looked at me with wide eyes, and she said, "Are you telling me I did this to myself?" And I told her the same thing I'm telling you right now. No, you did what you were told to do. You followed advice that was incomplete. This isn't your fault. But now that you know, you have the power to change it. We reduced refined carbohydrates dramatically. We replaced fruit juice with whole fruit. We added protein at every meal to support muscle synthesis. We introduced a short walk after every meal to help manage glucose response. And we added a targeted magnesium protocol. 6 weeks later, Dorothy came back. She was not using the cane. She told me, "I haven't fallen since we started this. My legs feel different, steadier, like they belong to me again." "Doctor," she said, "why didn't anyone tell me this 30 years ago?" This wasn't a miracle. This was a body, finally freed from the thing that had been poisoning it for years. Now let me tell you exactly how to implement what you've learned today, because information without action changes nothing. Starting tomorrow morning, here's your practical protocol. Begin by identifying which of these 7 thieves is most present in your life. Be honest with yourself. Is it the processed vegetable oils you're cooking with? The sodium hiding in packaged foods, the dehydration because you simply forget to drink water, the medication side effects nobody warned you about, the prolonged sitting, the alcohol, or the sugar and refined carbohydrates that have become the foundation of your daily eating? For the first week, choose one. Start there. If the answer is sugar, begin by eliminating sugary drinks entirely. Replace fruit juice with whole fruit. Replace refined crackers and white bread with high-protein snacks. Add a 5 to 10 minute walk after breakfast and after dinner. Do this for 7 days. If the answer is processed oils, go through your kitchen. Read labels. Remove any product that lists soybean oil, corn oil, or generic vegetable oil as a primary ingredient. Replace your cooking oil with olive oil or avocado oil. If the answer is dehydration, set a recurring timer on your phone or watch for every 90 minutes. When it goes off, drink 1 full glass of water before doing anything else. If the answer is sedentary behavior, implement the 20-minute rule starting this afternoon. Stand and move for 2 minutes for every 20 minutes of sitting. For your timeline, within 3 days of reducing refined carbohydrates and sugar, most people notice a reduction in leg heaviness and bloating. Within 1 week, energy levels in the legs begin to improve. Within 2 weeks, early signs of better muscle function begin to emerge, particularly in morning mobility. Within 1 month, the combination of reduced inflammation, better circulation, and improved muscle protein synthesis produces results that are visible and measurable. Within 2 months, your doctor may actually ask what you've been doing differently. Do not make these critical errors. Do not try to change everything at once. Doing so leads to burnout and reversion. Choose one thief, Eliminate it first and then move to the next. Do not use one good day as permission to return to old habits. Consistency over 6 to 8 weeks is what produces lasting change. And do not dismiss subtle early improvements. Feeling slightly less fatigued on the stairs by the end of week 2 is a signal. Honor it. Now I want to hear from you. Have you noticed any of these 7 thieves showing up in your own life? Which one surprised you most? Share your answer in the comments. I read every single one, and I genuinely want to hear your story. Before we close, let me give you the summary. 7 leg strength thieves in order from bad to catastrophic. Number 7, processed vegetable oils creating chronic inflammation that breaks down muscle tissue. Number 6, excess sodium hiding in packaged foods that restricts circulation and feeds edema in the legs. Number 5, chronic dehydration that starves muscle fibers of the water they need to function. Number 4, medications that deplete the critical nutrients your leg muscles depend on. Number 3, sedentary behavior and the sitting trap that shuts down muscle metabolism for hours at a time. Number 2, alcohol that directly suppresses the pathway your body uses to build and maintain muscle while you sleep. And number 1, sugar and refined carbohydrates that drive insulin resistance, inflammation, glycation, and nerve damage that systematically destroys leg strength from the inside out. Here is my challenge to you. Commit to eliminating your single biggest leg strength thief for 30 days. Just 30 days. Track how your legs feel each morning when you get out of bed. Track the stairs. Track the distance you can walk before you need to stop. Track your confidence when you stand up from a chair. I promise you will be recording changes within the first 2 weeks. My main message today is not fear. It is not blame. It is this. You are not broken. Your information has been incomplete. Your body, even now, even at this stage, is capable of responding to the right changes. The legs you want, the independence you want, the confidence of moving through your life without fear of falling, none of that is beyond reach. Your body wants to heal. It simply needs you to remove what's been poisoning it. Remember Dorothy, walking back into my office without her cane. Remember James, with the shuffle finally fading. Remember Patricia, walking a mile again. Their bodies responded because they gave those bodies a fighting chance. Yours will too. If this video helped you today, please smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss the real, straightforward health information we deliver every single week for adults over 60. And share this with someone you love, your parent, your sibling, your friend who's been struggling to get around. That one share might be the reason they get their legs back. Because remember, aging does not take away your body's ability to recover. It simply reminds you to care for it the right way. Take care of yourself.